Welcome to the HealthLinks podcast, a service of the HealthLinks family of companies. I'm your host, DJ Thatcher, and our mission here is to engage in conversations about the health and medical landscape of South Carolina so that we're all better informed. The focus of our podcast now is all about wellness. In fact, we have both the director and the marketing director of the Wellness Center at the Medical University of South Carolina, or MUSC, with us. Gentlemen, welcome to the HealthLinks podcast.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate being here.
So we have with us Dusty Jackson, the director of the Wellness Center, along with Colby Denton, the marketing director. Gentlemen, welcome to the HealthLinks podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much, DJ.
So I've seen the Wellness Center. It is an impressive place. But hey, tell us, how did this come to fruition, and how did each of you get involved?
Ooh, that's a long story. But we're currently on our 30th year of
wow.
So a long history here. Actually was a previous dean who thought this would be a good idea, who kind of started this place up and kind of got this place running. But I kind of came here myself via coming from Atlanta, where I've been involved in the fitness and wellness industry since the very beginning of my career, and throughout college and throughout undergrad and grad school. I've been involved in the fitness industry in different university settings, as well as some nonprofit settings. And I just knew that they were doing something different here at the Wellness Center here at MUSC, and I really wanted to be a part of it. And be a part of the mission here and everything we have going on.
He's a big Georgia Bulldog, DJ.
Here we go. We're gonna have that debate going now on the podcast here. Here we go. That's good though. So tell me, or tell us rather, about just that background. A lot of people may not realize the educational background that many individuals have who are in the wellness industry. So what's yours like, Colby? Or just either one, you know.
Well, for me, DJ, I come from a communications background. You know, that's what a lot of people in marketing wind up getting into, is some form of communications role. I went to college at Middle Tennessee State University, graduated there with my bachelor's in 2016, and almost immediately got a job working as an intern at a paid intern, thankfully, at Dollywood, you know, Dolly Parton's theme.
Sure. Yeah. Been there. Yeah.
Worked there for a while, worked a bunch of random jobs. I worked as a reporter for about 3 years in my hometown of Cleveland, Tennessee, and then worked for a couple other jobs. Then ultimately went to Blue Ridge Community College in Flat Rock, North Carolina, which is, you know, near Asheville.
Sure.
Worked there in their marketing department as basically their number 2 marketing person for about 3 years, I guess. And just recently got this job back in August of 2022 and started here right after that. And it's been great ever since.
So this is a different type of marketing approach, I'm sure, marketing a wellness center now versus what you've done before. So including Dollywood. What do you find? It's an easy thing to market? Is a big audience for it, or what's your take?
Thankfully, it's not, you know, I've never had the misfortune of working for something that's so niche that, you know, it makes it difficult to market. You know, Dollywood's obviously really easy to market because of what it is. It's a ton of fun.
Sure.
For the Wellness Center, you know, I don't have a background in, you know, exercise science. I have a background in communications in general. So I just do the same thing at each job. I rely on subject matter experts that I work with. At Blue Ridge Community College, it was the, you know, faculty. Here it's personal trainers, Dusty, people from the business who fill me in and educate me about the what we've got going on so I can market it better.
Sure. Understood. Well, thank you for that. You know, Dusty, from your standpoint now, being one of those subject matter experts in wellness, what was that educational background like, or what do other people have who are part of your staff, for example?
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing, is when people think of a wellness center or they think of a fitness center, they think that we all follow the same track, and it's really not. Obviously, Colby's experience is a lot different than mine, right? There's a lot of opportunities within wellness that people don't even realize are there. And so I think that it's a great comparison to kind of see where I kind of had a non-traditional track, I would say, within, kind of campus recreation itself. So I actually did both my undergraduate degree and graduate degree were both in kinesiology, exercise science, and then grad school was more focused towards strength and conditioning and sport performance. I thought that I was going to end up being a strength and conditioning coach, and then quickly shifted because I actually worked at the rec center for my university that I went to. And I realized how much I loved it. I actually kind of started off kind of in that field, did my education in that. During that time, was able to accumulate about, I think I got up to 18 fitness certifications at one point.
Wow. Kind
of narrowed that down a little bit because it's a lot of certifications to keep up with.
Right.
So I kind of narrowed it down a little bit, but so at one point I had 18 certifications, and I was doing everything from personal training to group exercise to sport performance to managing the facility, to going around fixing equipment and things like that. And kind of transitioned after school and working in those camp recreation settings and for a couple major universities in Georgia, where I got to oversee the fitness programs and also be involved with facility aspects and administration and staffing. I think at one point, probably the biggest staff I had was around 150 employees. So
wow.
It gets busy for sure. And then I actually kind of transitioned out of that for a few years, where I actually got to work for a nonprofit still in the wellness setting that actually served veterans, where I got to serve post 9/11 generation of veterans, working on their physical health and wellness, and being involved with that. And then worked on a regional team where eventually I got to work my way up and be a manager of a regional team where I got to oversee the Southeast and in that area. So that was a very fortunate period in my life. And I always knew that I had kind of a love for campus recreation and wellness overall, and kind of that background. And I knew eventually I wanted to be in this role, and then I just saw the role open up, and I just knew I had to take my shot. And here I am. I've been here a year and a half now. So.
Well, congratulations. That's terrific. And gentlemen, thank you for the overview. We have a lot of listeners and also people who watch the podcast here who are considering a career in the medical field. And positions such as yours are ones that maybe people don't think about instinctively. So it's so good to see the variety of different health and wellness type of careers that are available. So let's shift our focus to the actual wellness center and what you offer. And then keeping in mind that probably the majority of our listeners are outside of the Charleston area, they may never visit this fantastic facility, but we can turn our conversation more toward that general wellness, if you will. But tell us about the facility, where it is, and what all it offers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always like to tell people we are very unique. I haven't met another facility within campus recreation, within a community that is like us. We're very unique in that kind of aspect, where I always like to say that we're kind of focused in 3 different buckets. We're located in Charleston, the beautiful town of Charleston, South Carolina. And I always say we kind of like to focus in kind of 3 different buckets, where one, we are serving the students of our 6 different colleges we have here at the Medical University of South Carolina. We're trying to serve them, give them an outlet for their physical health, for their stress and their rigorous schedules that they have. So that's one bucket we fall into. We also are open to the community of Charleston. So as long as you are 18 years of age or older, you can come and get a membership here. And a lot of people don't know that actually is an option. So we're focused on that. And then as well as with that, we also sell, guest passes and day passes where, we have people who come in from out of town or are looking for a place to go and kind of work on their wellness. We have that option as well. And then the third bucket we kind of fall into is we get to work with some awesome clinical populations and clinical exercise programs, where we have everything from Rock City Boxing, which is focused on our Parkinson's patients in the area. We've got a cancer survivors program we call Survivors Fit Club that we have. We work with the program called Piece It Together to work with youth on the spectrum. And so there's so many opportunities with that. And, those are constantly growing. We just started a prenatal postpartum program. And so that it's such a major bucket of things that are going on. And, and there's more. We work with addiction recovery groups. We work with all kinds of different groups to be able to offer these things. And it's such a fortunate thing as it allows us to be unique in the fact that we have, most of the time these buckets are falling, that's just the one focus, and we get to focus on all three of them within our facility. So that's a very unique thing when it comes to who we're serving, and kind of what we're doing and kind of those programs. But we're very fortunate in the fact of the facility that we have. We always tell people it's a one-stop shop for all of your fitness needs and wellness needs, because a lot of times people are joining multiple different gyms to get access to different things. And we have everything under one roof, where we have a pool. We have a 25-meter pool with a lap pool and a rec area. We've got racquetball courts. We have pickleball courts, basketball courts. We have traditional, exercise rooms with cardio equipment and weight room. And we have a rooftop where we have tennis and outdoor track and indoor track. And it's so hard to just encompass all of the things that we have in, just a few sentences. But I always like to say, it is everything you need. If there is something that you want to do fitness wise, we probably have it.
Terrific. Wow. Very comprehensive. I'm wondering if you are as competitive as maybe going to the local health club at the mall or something like that, if a person was deciding, what direction to go in.
Yeah. And I feel like we are, just because of all we have to offer. It just kind of depends on the needs of the person. Sometimes people don't want all of that, and that's okay. We're okay with that, because we are different than, those corporate gyms. We are different, and we understand that.
Yeah, we're a very different experience. I mean, like Dusty said, if you're not going to, utilize a lot of these different things, then it might not be for you. But we're very, very well positioned for anyone that lives around here.
Terrific. Well, let's shift our focus for all those who are not fortunate enough to live around here and throughout the rest of the state. Beautiful areas, but, as a whole, a lot of South Carolinians are not in the best of health, as we've seen. So what advice would you give someone? I know a large focus of what you do is the development of the total well-being of a person. What are some things in general that a person, regardless of their age, might want to consider as far as developing that healthy lifestyle, or maybe beginning a fitness program? Yeah,
absolutely. And that's huge. I think a lot of people, for one, just don't even know where to start. I think everybody knows kind of the value of it. And everybody's in a different place and a different time and what they have access to. And I think a big thing for me before anybody begins kind of on this journey, just from the very start, is determining why it's important to you. And I think it's important to think about kind of your internal motivation with that of why this is important to you. Was it, do you want to be able to live a long life with your kids and play with your kids, or, whatever? Do you want to be able just to bend over and tie your shoes easier? What is the reasoning of why this is important to you? That's always where I want people to start with. And from there, I always say, I'm a big fan of healthy routines and schedules and things like that. And that's what works for me. But I always say from there, start together to put together a plan, start taking some action of what's important to you and how you're going to be able to implement that. Because like I said, everybody has a different lifestyle and what's going on. People have different times for different things, but what can you fit in your life that is going to be healthy habits and healthy routines, whether that's, hey, I could probably wake up 30 minutes earlier and go for a walk, whether that's that, or maybe it's like, hey, I get a 15-minute block here in my day. Let me go for a walk there. Let me go for a run there. Let me lift some weights there, whatever it may be. Because I always tell people something is better than nothing. So at the end of the day, when it comes to wellness, I want people to think about where they can fit it in their life. And also, what do they enjoy? Because if you don't enjoy it, right? I really enjoy running, right? But Colby has told me that he does not. So Colby's not going to go for a run. He'll go and lift some weights, but he's not going to go for a run. So if you don't like running,
look at those guns. Yeah.
If you don't like running, then don't go out and run, right? Figure out what you like to do, whether that's pickleball, lifting weights, running, walking, whatever that is, that helps you stick with it. Wow. So that's a kind of a major piece. And then kind of just building it in. I always say, I'm a big proponent of physical activity and just movement overall. I think as humans, we are built to move. And I notice that I function better in all areas of my life when I have regular physical activity and movement. I can say that, even if I go and eat lunch, if I'm sitting on the rest of the day, I can't even think as clearly as if I was like, all right, let me eat lunch, take a 5-minute walk, and then I can think a lot clearer.
Nice.
Going back, I can kind of piggyback off of that.
Sure, go ahead.
A little bit, DJ, just because I mean, I've never been, I don't come from that kind of background. I want to work out because it, lets me live longer and stay healthy and avoid issues later in life, So I tell Dusty, like every time, like if I skip a day at the gym or something and then get back to Monday, I'm like, oh my God, my knee's sore today, or, just something like that because I worked it. So yeah, just living proof here.
Sure. Going back to what you said initially there, Dusty, about start with that why, something a lot of people may not think about. I guess that's to keep us inspired as we feel that lack of motivation or that pain or that whatever. Is that the reason for that?
Exactly. That's exactly the reasoning, is because if you know your why, you have motivation and a reason to stick to it. And especially because people fall off, things get hard. Everybody goes through those periods where it gets hard. I go through those periods, right? And I'm in this field. So I think that's a big misperception of just because people work in the field that it's easy. It's hard for everybody. And just coming back to that why and why it's important. And sometimes that why shifts, and that's okay. It's just, that's what keeps you motivated to keep going, keep pushing, right? Because if you want to live longer for your kids, right? And, that's a huge motivation for a lot of people, is, coming back to that of like, at that point, you feel like, all right, I have to do this for my kids, right? This is no longer, whatever the reason may be. So yeah, it helps people stick to that reasoning, especially when times get hard, especially when they fall off. Because if you don't see any value in it, you're not going to stick to it.
I've known a lot of people, maybe even personally, who are told, hey, you should get into shape, you should do this, you should do that, whether it's from a loved one or a doctor or someone. And so we feel compelled to do it, but love that concept of the why. It's what's my own personal reason for that. Yeah,
exactly.
I know a lot of people will develop a fitness program or sign up for a membership, and they have this great schedule blocked out. They're going to take 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and then life gets in the way, and suddenly, Colby, like you mentioned, sometimes we'll miss a day or miss a week and get back in. What would you recommend just for those you mentioned earlier about just those short bursts of time? What are some things that we can do with that extra 15 minutes or whatever it might be?
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing with that is if you miss a day, the big thing is not, it doesn't completely stall your progress or stall everything. Everybody goes through those periods where they miss a day, where things get hard, life gets in the way. And that's the thing. And that's the thing when it comes to schedules and routines, you have to be flexible with that, right? Of sometimes life gets in the way. You can I always say, try to control the controllables, but obviously there's things out of our control. So when it comes to that, if you have 15 minutes here and there, even just going for a walk is huge. I think that's a big thing where people don't even realize how much walking can actually improve our health. Whether it's going for a walk for 15 minutes or, even doing some exercise 15 minutes. Hey, I got 15 minutes here. I'm going to do some squats or some push-ups or something like that, just to get the blood moving.
Some dumbbells, anything like that.
Anything like that. And a lot of times people don't, people may know this is, a lot of times people think that I have to schedule out an hour a day or 30 minutes a day here, but, doing 2 15-minute sessions in a day is just as healthy-wise beneficial as doing a 30-minute block. So there's no, when it comes to your health, there's no extra benefits from doing that hour-long thing. Let's say you did 4 15-minute sessions in a day, you're still getting the same benefit as if you were doing that hour session.
That's good.
So I always like to say, walking is huge, but what it ultimately comes down to is what do you like to do? What do you have access to? What are your resources, right? Because everybody has different resources.
Sure. Well, we are blessed here in South Carolina with terrific places to walk, run, hike, whether it's in the upstate or the Midlands along the rivers, or of course here my personal favorite, like many, is that Ravenel Bridge, and conquering that all the time. So it's a beautiful walk or a beautiful run. So for the average person who is considering beginning a wellness program, do you recommend that they consult with a physician or a wellness expert beforehand, or what are some of the guidelines related to that?
Yeah. I always recommend a consult can go a long way with a physician, for one, especially if they have any underlying medical conditions that they need to worry about. But also, a wellness expert where it comes to a personal trainer with accredited certifications. It's kind of talking with them and kind of seeing, because what I've kind of realized is people get that motivation, they get that why, and they want to go 0 to 100, right? And that's where the most risk of injury, as I tell people, is doing too much too soon. Because you got to, if you haven't been doing anything and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to work out 7 days a week, 3 hours a day, you're more than likely going to get injured because your body is not ready for that.
I can't even imagine doing it that long.
So your body is not ready for that. So I always tell people it's good to consult with, hey, where do I need to start? So it's great to consult with a personal trainer with an accredited certification or somebody in the industry who knows about it, who's got validated certifications and education and can be able to educate you on where to start, right? Because if somebody is, like I said, if somebody's doing nothing and they want to start, I'm not going to tell them to go 7 days a week. Maybe it's 1 to 2 days a week that we start doing something. And then, if their eventual goal is to get to that 7 days a week, we got to start slow and work there slowly besides just going straight there.
Where social media has so many different fitness programs on Facebook, of course, YouTube videos and so forth. And I'm sure many are very good, but it sounds like it might be a good idea even before beginning one of those ventures to consult with someone like yourself.
Yeah. I think it is, and especially because everybody's so individual. Those programs are great. I've done some of those programs. Those programs out there are great, but especially if you have underlying medical issues or joint issues, those programs are not going to be tailored a lot of times towards that. There's going to be tailored towards the general population, which is a great thing, and they're great programs. But if you need some more personal help, I always think it's good to consult with somebody first of where do I even start? And how do I even get a plan together?
Very useful information. Thank you so much. Finally, the MUSC Wellness Center and each of you has been recognized this spring as a Best in Health Award recipient. Congratulations to that. And what's your secret sauce that led to being voted for the Best in Health Award?
Well, I guess I could answer a little bit to that.
Sure.
DJ. It's just the variety and the sheer level of experience that our staff has here. We've got, multiple personal trainers with countless certifications, everything that we mentioned, in the facility as far as the pool and everything that we try to utilize all of these resources to their full extent. The pool's not just for swimming laps. We also do water aerobics and therapeutic programs in there. So we actually won three awards. We won Best Fitness Facility, Best Personal Trainer, and Best Exercise Program, which was Rocksteady Boxing, the Parkinson's boxing program. So we're really proud. We've been working hard and trying to, connect with the people, all of our members, and then also just to let people know that we exist. Because there's even some people who live downtown that are like, oh, I didn't know I could be a member there. So that's always a continuous challenge for us. Not in a bad way, though, just to get the word out there and let the community know that we exist.
Sure. And for those who are now aware, how do they get a hold of the Wellness Center? What's the best way?
The best way, there's a couple ways. They can reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram if they'd like to. We've got a pretty active presence on both of those. It's just under MUSC Wellness Center. They could give us a call. The number is 843-792-5757. Or they could visit our website, which is musc.edu/HSC.
They can also just stop in for a tour as long as we're open.
And what's the address for those who want to knock on the door and come in?
45 Courtney Drive. And that's Courtney with an AY to end. And that is in Charleston, South Carolina, 29425.
Right in the heart of the entire campus there for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's like a little city.
Absolutely, it is. All right. Dusty Jackson, Colby Denton, thank you so much for joining the Health Links podcast. And thank you for all you're doing for keeping us all a bit healthier. So, and congratulations once again.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And folks, you can reach out to us at any time with questions you might have about the podcasts or perhaps potential topics for future podcasts. The way to get hold of us is at listen@healthlinkspodcast.com. That's listen@healthlinkspodcast.com. Again, I'm your host, DJ Thatcher. Thank you for tuning in.